Well, first and foremost, thank you for your time. The tax collector is getting a ton of buzz, as are you. And you, David Ayer was the director of this, and Shia LaBeouf is your co-star in this. Now, Shia and David have worked together before, so perhaps there's a measure of shorthand between them. Can you talk to me about what the process is like working with both?
I mean, first of all, it's incredible. David and Shia definitely have that synergy, right? That chemistry. You can tell that they have this special bond that they created in during Fury, of course,
Right.
and they're very similar in a lot of ways. They're just they dive completely into their work 100%. Like, I mean, yeah, they're both just like mad geniuses. As far as like working with David, you said how it was.
Yes.
Incredible. David works very different from any director that I've actually had the chance to work with. David is not only just like, hey, we're going to show up on set and we're just going to find it. We actually rehearsed for the film 2.5 months before we started shooting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it included 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, and 3 hours, 2.5 hours of that day was all martial arts training.
Woo.
Exactly.
I'm guessing you're pretty proficient in martial arts at this point.
I am actually a purple belt now in American Kempo Karate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we did everything. We did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, American Kempo Karate, boxing. We worked with our incredible sensei named Richard Mesquita, who has our MMA in Echo Park. And this is basically something that all of David Ayer's actors, I mean,
Right.
Brad Pitt, Will Smith, Margot Robbie, everyone has had to go through this. I like to call it the David Ayer boot camp.
That's actually one of my questions about the David Ayer boot camp, because it's such a
Yeah.
it's such a thing. A part of his kind of a part of his mystique is going through his boot camps. If you're an actor working with him,
It's incredible. I mean, I think people have asked me in the past, and I've had some time to think about it. Like, what has been your favorite part of shooting? And I think shooting was really special. Don't get me wrong, but the best part about it for me as an actor and just as a human being overall was that boot camp.
right?
Now, by any means it's not a walk in the park at all. We are literally beating each other and ourselves to a pulp the first part of the day. Our castmates, like Bobby Soto, who plays my husband in the movie, day one of rehearsals, he and I were like jiu-jitsu, grappling, wrestling each other, hitting each other. And it was almost like in David's mind, it was a couples therapy.
Sure.
So we got to bond on so many different levels, not just with Bobby, but as a cast with Shia. Shia would come in and fight with us. He had already done it before with Fury, so he was already so familiar to the process. But it was incredible because, yeah, we not only did the martial arts portion of it. For the second half of the day, we would go over to David's house and we would rehearse the script for about 3 hours. And it was not just like, hey, let's just do these lines and just see how we feel. It's like, no, we're going to go in. Like, David, he likes to get in here and just like see what you're made of. He kind of just like opens up your brain and just dissects it a little, just sees what you're made of, not only as an actor and an artist, but as a human. And just, he'll rewire you for sure for the purpose of the character.
I love that, though. I love that method. Now,
I love it too. I've been searching for it ever since. And it's funny because I'll talk to David now and I'll be like, dude, I've been searching for this and I don't find it. He's like, you never will.
Now, the internet's been buzzing about the tattoo that Shia got on his chest, specifically for this role. Did you know this while you guys were shooting?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We were all pretty close during rehearsals. He actually did it before we started shooting. So he did it during rehearsals. Shia came in 3 weeks before we started shooting. He was finishing shooting Honey Boy at the time. So we had already had like a month and a half of rehearsals so far. But he came in and David had already told us, like, look, Shia goes all in. He will raise the hair on the back of your neck. He's such a committed, incredible, I think the word he used specifically is he's just very raw.
Right.
It's like a wild animal in the best way possible. And that's exactly what he was, in the sense that he just commits, right? He just commits 100%. And part of that commitment was the tattoo, and multiple tattoos, because when you watch the film, you'll see that he has a very special tattoo on his face that is also real.
Whoa, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
but the chest, yeah, like the chest, the creeper, everything was, he did it during rehearsals. And I had definitely never worked with an actor that committed and that just powerful, I guess. So
Right.
for me at first it was like, whoa, it was really shocking. And then you just stand back and admire. And now it's like everybody should do
Right, right,
that.
right. Now, you play David's wife in the film. The two of them are trying to raise a family together. Can you
Yeah.
tell me about the about how that contrasted with David's work? Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
It's so that's, I think that's the beauty of the story in the film, right? That you have this man who runs an organized crime group deep in the trenches of Los Angeles. Like, we're talking about the head honchos of Latino gang culture. But then he comes home and it's a completely different life. He's the dad at all the little league games, and Alexis, me, his wife, she is like mass on Sundays and just has to keep up this picture perfect image and expects everything from her kids to her husband to herself. Like, everything has to have this perfection. No, even though Alexis knows exactly what it takes
sure.
to have that perfect life, she doesn't really want to see it. And so when he's home, that's not that's not something that they really talk about. So she knows more than you think she knows, actually. But she doesn't really let the two worlds cross. It's
Right,
like, I know what my husband has to do in the streets, and I know what it takes for us to have this incredible, giant mansion, and my kids are in private school, and I have the latest, everything. But two completely different worlds. They
sure.
don't mix.
How do you think the tax collector sets itself apart from other crime or street crime thrillers?
Yeah, it's something really special, because since then, so after working on the project, first of all, I learned so much myself just working in South Central,
Sure.
and learning about Watts and just different gangs in LA, a world that I feel like, sure, you've seen in movies here and there, but this is a very specific, like, look into the Latino gang culture that hasn't been seen before.
Right.
There's so many things that I learned. We filmed in so many incredible places in LA that even when I got to see it, I'm like, how on earth were we able to shoot there? Like, it's just, it shows LA in such a different light, I feel. And it's kind of one of those stories that you're like, you look around and you're like, does that really happen? Is that real? And it is. It's all of it is based on truth, right? We have Conejo, who plays himself in the film, and he's the real deal. Like, I
Right,
don't have to
right.
say anything about him. Just, you do your research and look him up. He is the real deal, and he plays, I don't want to say himself, because obviously it's a character, but I don't think anybody could have played that role better. So we worked with actual people that know that world, that run in that world, or were a part of that world, that just brought so much authenticity to the game. It changed the way that I look at Los Angeles completely, and I haven't seen anything like it. So if you have, let me know.
No, no. I mean, that's that. I look. I'm born and raised LA, so I kind of,
Oh, nice.
yeah,
Cool.
I get the culture. So it's
Oh,
kind of cool
cool.
seeing
Cool.
it. I think you're exactly right. You're seeing LA from a different lens, and
Totally.
even me, I was like, wow, I know this stuff really happens, and it is a different side of LA that might not be as highly publicized
For
as much.
sure. Yeah,
Um,
it's crazy, because you ask yourself, like, why did David want to tell this story,
right.
and what is it, why, right? What was his intention? And David grew up in South Central, like,
That's where I grew up.
yeah.
So,
Oh, amazing, amazing. So
um,
David, yeah, he knows the streets, and I feel like, in his other films, and of Watch, for example, he understands Harsh Times, one of his
yeah,
first movies
yeah,
that he directed. Like, you can see that he understands the streets of LA just really well, and he
yes.
portrays it in a way that's just like, wow, man, like, it's fascinating,
I mean, that's
really.
the one thing about David is I feel that nobody really gets LA like he does. He really, really understands the city. Um,
taught me so much of it. Yeah, it's
yeah.
true.
Now, the heart of the film is rests on you and Bobby Soto's on-screen relationship. What makes the couple so convincing?
I think, and I think it's very much of a Latino thing, right? For us, no matter what, familia is everything. And that's what's beautiful about the film. That's you have this incredible dichotomy of just this animal in the streets, but when he comes home, it's familia.
Right, right, right.
And we make sure that that's tight, whether it's like the way we talk to our children, what we instill in our children, prayer every day, it's eating together as a family. Just we work really hard to have that family bond. And David and Alexis met when they were like 17 years old.
Right.
She's a girl from Montebello, and he was a street cat, and she's the good girl that, like, wanted to change him a little. And you feel that good girl that could have probably dated anyone and gone with like the doctor or anybody in her neighborhood, but chose David because he is who he is.
Now, what do you think you want people to learn about your character's journey in this film?
Interesting question. Wow. I think a lot of people might look at Alexis, because you have to take into consideration the tax collector only takes place over 2 days in the life of the Cuevas family. So you've got 10 years of a relationship, and they have kids, and it's this whole established family life. So you only get a little glimpse, but in that glimpse, you really get to see so much,
Right.
which is the beauty of the writing, David's writing. But I think even though Alexis knows the price of power, right? The price that it takes, the sacrifices that her husband has to make in order for her to have that life,
Right.
she first of all, she's very strong herself, and she's not at all this little helpless
Right.
flower that can be crushed. And what I want people to see, and I think people will see that in the film when they see Alexis, is that she has a lot more of the control of
Oh yeah.
things, right? She's able to, even though Bobby is the head of the household, he, he looks up to Alexis. He respects Alexis more than anything.
Absolutely.
And in the streets, nobody can speak badly about Alexis. And she's established that. She's strong. She's the matriarch. And it's a really beautiful position to play. But we find out in the middle of the film, which was probably the most special part for me with Alexis, is that why she chooses to attach herself to David, right? If she could have had anybody, right? If
Right.
she was
Right.
a good girl, came from a good somewhat rich family, wealthy family, why did she attach herself to someone like David? And what we learn is that sometimes we attach ourselves to people because of our traumas growing up, right? And I hope
Right.
that somebody can see themselves in that story.
Now.
The people that we look for, we're searching for sometimes something that we're missing,
Right.
and Alexis needed that protector. And we
Um,
learn why in the film.
we do learn why in the film. Now, this is my last question, but it's a little, switching gears here a little bit.
Yeah.
You also at least correct me if I'm wrong. You also reunite with David on the show Deputy. Um,
Yeah.
how does that set differ?
Oh my God, it's completely different. It was so nerve-wracking, I think, because I mean, we put in so much emotional, just so much work and beautiful work for tax collector, that when we were doing Deputy, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to go through that again. I'm going to have to just like bare my soul every day and just like crush myself. And I remember I was, when I got the phone call from David, he's like, hey, what's up? Like, I'm going to have you on Deputy, and this is what you're going to be doing. And I'm like, okay, so when do the rehearsals start? What are we going to be doing? Like, I was ready, mentally prepared.
Right.
And he was like, dude, just have fun. Like, this is TV. You got this. Have fun. You have more freedom with the character, because
Sure.
in TV, for example, they'll write around you, right? So
Right.
you can come in for a couple of days and they'll be like, hey, you know what? We noticed she has this thing that she does. Let's write it in. So it gives you more freedom to bring yourself. And that's exactly what David said. He was like, bring yourself, be you, make this character special.
That's
And it was a great role to play. Unfortunately, We didn't get a season 2, but it was so much fun to work on that show and reunite with David. The first day on set, it was like, it's like, I don't know what to describe it, what to compare it to, but when you've just been working with somebody for so long that you just show up and you're just like,
Yeah, you get it. You get the vibe, right?
You get the vibe, and it's great energy. I'm looking forward to hopefully, working with all of them again in the
Oh,
future.
I hope you are too.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you, this has been one of my favorite interviews. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
I
you.
truly appreciate it. You're amazing. The role's amazing. The film's
you.
amazing. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Cinthia.
No, thank you, Joseph.